or two, we will begin and welcome all here. So, welcome, welcome. So we're going to start with, I'm going to have a question. So how many here think operator partnerships can be cost-effective, efficient instruments with international development cooperation? So how many think operator partnerships, you can use it with a show of hands. How many think here believe that operator partnerships can be effective, cost-efficient instruments for international development? Okay, good. So, even two hands, perfect. So there's not too many discerning parties here. So I think we're all pretty well in agreement. And so my name is Belinda Abraham, and I'll be moderating the session this afternoon, where we're actually talking about this subject. How can operator partnerships be an actual instrument in international development cooperation? And to do that, we will have first a presentation by Heiko Heidemann, who will, and I have a clicker here somewhere. So we will have a presentation by Heiko Heidemann, he's with GIZ, and he will explain to us a little bit about the German utility platform. Then we'll be followed by two showcase presentations, which will actually talk about some of the things that the partnerships are doing, both technical opportunities also for growth and in evolving cases. It's really showcasing. So we're really pleased that we'll have the partners from Jordan and Zambia, as well as Hamburg Wasser and Gelsenwasser. And then we will have a panel. And I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit more provocative and pushy, but you know, we're of course in a conference and we have to be all in good form. But we will kind of push a few questions around that to really so to say, how is the evolving role? How can this role evolve to actually do more and live up to all those things that we want the water operator partnerships to do in these changing times? And I mean, we're sitting here and we know geopolitical changes. We know that threats and climate. We had the presentation earlier. So there is a key role, and what can these water operating partnerships in their current state, what can they do? So with that, then I would love to invite Heiko to give us a big round of applause for him. Heiko is also, he is the project head of the German utility platform, and he's going to speak to us a little bit about the structure, the financing approach, and as well, is it functioning as a complementary tool to development cooperation? Heiko, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks a lot, Belinda. So what I'm doing is actually only the introduction. So I'm setting the frame for the others, then deep diving and showing in showcases, and then also in the panel, of course, what impact WOPs can have in development cooperation. So to start with, sorry. The utility platform, our program existed since 2019. So we started with very few water operator partnerships, the first real ones with German utility participation. And our mission, but also our task is actually to ensure the participation of German utilities, meaning the knowledge which is in German utilities in development cooperation, to make projects more sustainable. In that way, we allocate and we manage funds, but we also generate funds for operator partnerships with German utilities. So, and one of the main tasks is that we ensure synergies with German development cooperation programs, meaning GIZ, and hopefully in future also the financial cooperation, the KfW, for example, but also other financial cooperation programs. For us, in the meantime, it is very important, and that is why we establish new WOPs only where there's a strong connection with GIZ, we come to it, an example in Zambia, or hopefully in future, KfW, for example, financial cooperation, or we also cooperate with GWOPA. In our program, we, of course, generate this financing, but we also foster the result orientation. We make sure that there's monitoring done in the water operator partnerships, and we do the networking, like we have our networking meeting tomorrow, and we meet together here. And we also offer trainings because these experts coming from the utilities are experts in their fields of work, but they're not necessarily experts in international cooperation. That is why it's important that we have our offers within the utility platform. I think the understanding of operator partnerships are clear. So it's the same with GWOPA. They are not for profit. The peer-to-peer advice is in the focus. And we, of course, aim at strengthening the competences in our partner utilities, but also the Germans, in our case, are benefiting. Also their competences are strengthened. May it be language, may it be advisory competences, may it be international, intercultural competences. And of course, in the end, it should result in a better service for those depending on the utilities, the customers. When we talk about financing utility partnerships, of course, our Federal Ministry of Economic Development and Cooperation is financing our programs. In the meantime, we have coming from 4, we have 30 water operator partnerships running presently, but the program is financed by our ministry, yes, but it doesn't mean that we finance all water operator partnerships through our own budget. That is not the case. In the meantime, we are asked to look for external finance. And therefore, for example, GIZ programs are financing water operator partnerships from their budget. At the moment, it's 4 water operator partnerships of these 30 financed by GIZ programs, and in future it will be even more. So there are some in preparation. So by the end or by mid next year, it will be around about 7 or 8 utility partnerships which will be financed by GIZ programs. Others are financed by GWOPA. 2 right presently, there are more in the second call, so hopefully there will be more then. And there's also another one financed by the European Investment Bank. So there's already finance coming from outside, and that is also one of our tasks to achieve. And of course, there's not only the finance coming in from external or from our program, there's also the utilities investing. With staff time, partly it's covered by us, but there's much more time going into the project as we are actually covering. So, I said before that that's also the main topic of this session, that we see WOPs clearly as complementary tools to development cooperation programs. So there's this capacity building through WOPs have a great advantage, because the knowledge which is coming into these projects is not as we have it in the partner countries in our programs. It is tried and proven knowledge coming from the day-to-day work in the utilities, and that can make a very big difference. And this will contribute to the sustainability and the resilience of the development programs. And as we see it, this is an added value to the technical cooperation. Definitely we'll come to it in the Zambia case. And it will be in future, hopefully, also an added value to the financial cooperation projects. This knowledge, as I said, is really not available in these projects usually. And also consultants, yes, they have a lot of knowledge, but this knowledge coming through WOPs is really coming from the day-to-day business they are having, so it's absolutely up to date. The Zambia case for us, the colleagues will go into a deep dive later, is for us a very good, almost ideal case where we have technical cooperation through the GIZ programs in Zambia. We have the KfW, and they are together in the NUSA program, the Nexus Energy Water in Zambia. And here we have the ideal combination of technical cooperation, financial cooperation, and WOPs. So we combine the different tools to, for the benefit of the customers and for the benefit of the utility. A little bit of advertisement for the German utilities. Of course, there's a lot of potential in Germany for international cooperation. When you look alone at that, there's more than 300,000 people working in the municipal utilities. And we have, okay, that's unique in Germany as well, we have quite a big number of utilities themselves. And if you look at that, there in the bigger utilities, that there are 5 to 10% of employees really wanting to be engaged in international cooperation, that is a huge potential. And the Germans, of course, they can come up with a high percentage of coverage in the sanitation and the water sector at a very low cost. And also regarding environmental protection, there's a huge waste disposal and a lot of CO2 emission which is saved. So this can be a good example. Here, just that there are already a lot of municipal utilities involved in international cooperation in the WOPs. It's more than 20, 25, and the number is increasing. And they are actually the stars of our WOPs. Of course, they are doing the actual work. It's not us as a program. We are fostering it, we are supporting it, but these are the ones, the Germans, together with their international partners, they are doing a great job, I think. If you meet our team, look around, there everybody is here, so just if you have further questions, address them. And otherwise, you can visit our website, sign up for the newsletter, or follow us on LinkedIn. There's a lot of always fresh information about WOPs. That's all I would say from my side.
Yeah. You'll be around. I will be around. You'll be around. Thank you, Heiko. So Heiko Heidemann has kind of given us the context and framework, and now we go into actually to see some case studies and some actually showcasing what is happening. But just before we do that, I'm just curious, how many here are, let me start with German utilities. How many of you here, show of hands again, are with German utilities? Okay, nice number. Yeah, and how many are utilities from other European countries? Oh, no, okay. And then the global, I would say the global south, the rest of the world. How many are utilities at Africa, Asia, Jordan, South America? Okay, okay. And then how many people are just don't know who they are and they just came here? Okay, never mind. Just thought I'd check. Okay, good. So we now go for the next, and I'd love to welcome, and quite excited about this, to welcome Nanda Goma Mwaka Gandu. She is with Lukanga, and she's with the partnership of Gelsenwasser and Lukanga, and she's going to speak a little bit more to that slide that Heiko shared. Okay, so welcome. Yeah, go ahead, and I'll give you a glass of water. We'll just start. Yeah, big round of applause. And you can just press this to go forward with your presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to stand before you and to showcase our Zambia story with the operating partners. Gelsenwasser, EGLV are our German partners. Gelsenwasser is dealing with water supply, and EGLV, yes, is dealing with wastewater. So Lukanga is one of the utilities in Zambia, one of the 11 utilities. We have 10 provinces, and each province has a water utility. So Lukanga is one of them. So we started our partnership with mainly 4 pillars of collaboration. So there's the technical exchange, and this is where there's knowledge transfer and practical skill development between the utility partners. And then we've also done, where funding is available, we've done infrastructure rehabilitations, hands-on support to restore critical water and wastewater treatment. And then there's local empowerment. building staff capacity for long-term sustainability. So this is where our staff have been trained by our German partners, and we are building that capacity. In the previous presentations, there was a lot about talking. There was a lot talking about human resource. So we are also leveraging on that pillar, and then we are also leveraging on the fact that our team is learning modern systems with our German partners. We're implementing GIS, metering, asset management, and those are some of the pillars that are coming with the partnership. So, our journey with Gessenwasser, EG and EGLV, sorry I can't pronounce it, but I think the abbreviation is fine. So we started our partnership in 2021, and some of the highlights of the things that we've done since then, we relaunched a wastewater treatment in a district called Kapirimposhi, which had been down for about 10 years. It's approximately, that plant is approximately serving 6,000 people. And then we've also done rehabilitation of pumping stations at our biggest dam in Kapirimposhi, which serves about 65,000 people. We are also currently doing, we've done a rehabilitation and a relaunch of an elevated tank in a district called Chisamba with over 15,000 people. And next month, we will be launching a kiosk in that area. We've done improvements, we've brainstormed and done improvements of the water loss strategy with our partners. We've done installation of bulk meters in district metering areas. We chose a pilot project in a place called Poland, where we are learning with each other and sharing knowledge. We are also trying to implement a GIS web map. In terms of timeline, we have a full report that looks at our activities that we've done since 2021 to about December 2023. I'll share a link a little later. Oh yes, there's the link. Yeah, so you get a full report on our activities. It's I think outcome number 4. That's specifically on Lukanga. You could get a bit more detail about that. I just thought I could show you some of the highlights of timings that we have done things with our partners. Of course, like any partnership, like any project that you embark on, we've had challenges. And one of the challenges that we had was ineffective planning and carrying out repairs when leakages happen. That is being reactive. And one of the challenges that we are also having is that we have a high rate of NRW. I can't talk much. Our regulator is in the audience. Yeah, so with the partnership, we tried to address these challenges. We were creating a GIS map, and there's work in progress. In the mission, we were trying to map pipe systems via GIS, and it's still ongoing. We're trying to develop the web app. And in terms of immediate results, there's the improvement of our GIS system. When we started the partnership, we only had one person in the organization that was had some GIS experience, but over time, with the capacity building and the trainings we've been doing, we are increasing the number of people that are able to do GIS. Medium-term results, enhanced knowledge and skills. We are also using better systems I've talked about GIS, and then there's also some improvement in information and data. So hopefully the activities we are doing will certainly impact on the SDG 6 that we all in this group are trying to aim for. So that's the outcome report I've been talking about, and that's the link that was shown. So it would be nice if you could visit that link and see the work that we've done. We had organized our work into work packages, and that's just an outline of some of the work packages that we did. And the other exciting part is that these partnerships are evolving, and like somebody was emphasizing yesterday, that the partnerships can't go on without a resource envelope, and we are happy to be part of the Nexus Energy and Water Program for Zambia. It's been running from May 2024, and it will be running for 4 years up to 2028. So under this program, it's covering about 5 water utilities in Zambia. So we have other water utilities that have joined. I'd like to believe we are one of the first ones to have worked with the Germans. So now we have 4 other utilities that have come on board. These are in 6 provinces, and we are covering about 20 districts. Under the NUSA, I think it's covering, for the entire 4-year period, it's covering about 118 million in terms of the budget on the programs that we will be doing. And it is being funded by EU and BMZ and UNICEF. The implementing partners are KfW, GIZ, and UNICEF. So in terms of focus, KfW is looking at energy water digit, and it's looking at urban and semi-urban and rural. Then UNICEF is concentrating on, I need my glasses. Yeah, so UNICEF is concentrating on the local level community, which is involvement in service provision. And then GIZ is looking at exactly what we're doing in the WOP, which is CU capacity building, knowledge exchange, and operational efficiency. So we are excited that we are also part of the NUSA program, and through our partnership, I'm sure we will leverage on some of these things that we have been doing, which defines our pillars. So basically, that's what we've been doing in a nutshell. We have moved from 2021 to 2023, and we have that report to show some of the things we've been doing. And now we'll be transitioning with the NUSA program, as well as some of the exchange programs we're going to plan tomorrow with GES and VASA and ELCG. I'm done.
Well done. Testing, yeah, it's on. Well done. You rocked it. You really did. And I didn't see anybody sleeping. Well, there was one person, and you know who you are. But I didn't see anybody sleeping, and I think it's very interesting. Is there any questions for Nangoma? Any questions? No? Was that clear? Oh, yeah, we have a question. Okay, share. Hi, how are you? Introduce yourself, please.
Okay, I'm Irene Gay from WaterAid. It's really impressive seeing particularly the data that is coming around how you're tracking on governance, but also on your operational and technical metrics. I was just curious, because this is one program which I'm seeing it as a great opportunity to try new things, because you have tried new things and seemingly you're pace setters in that. So I was just curious, we've been talking about how utilities can also make visible human rights to water, particularly in terms of maybe documentation of geographical coverage of people who are left behind. So is this something that in your data matrix for the next setup for the NUSA program, is that something that potentially you're going to make more visible in your data?
Yes, that is something that is actually very pronounced. In the NUSA project, we have been given funding to do some mapping in some districts. So far, we have 4 districts where we are doing sanitation mapping, and we've also combined that with the database cleanup of our current database. So in the data mapping, we will be capturing the data that we didn't have. Yeah, and most of the mapping will be done through GIS, and so we hope we will have better data. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. We'll take more questions afterwards, but we want to, so a big round of applause again for another one. But before you go, I have also the same problem because actually I didn't say the partnership well. Michaela Brown, please forgive me for this one because we completely missed it because the partnership isn't just Gelsenwasser. It's also, so we're going to both try to say it together. Emmerschen Genossenschaft Lieferband. Yeah. Yeah, EGLV. Very good. Well done. So we now move to the next presentation, and now we go to Jordan. And we're very pleased to have here Mr. Amer Haroussen. He is the lab manager for Miahuna and Hamburg Vasa Partnership. It's also another one for me. Welcome.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for attending this event. I'm honored to present our WOP on behalf of my colleagues back in Jordan and our partner in Hamburg Vasa and Hanse Vasa. And first of all, I would like to thank the GIZ for their funding and their support for the phase 1 and continuing with us with the phase 2. Let us go to our journey to see our WOP, to see our achievement, and to ask a question. Is the WOP effective? I can show you now. Okay, you know, Miahuna is responsible for providing water and wastewater services for about 6.5 million people. So it's very demanding, and also Jordan is one of the poorest countries in water. We have a water scarcity, and you know, it's treatment water have to have a lot of power consumption. So our main focus for beginning of our partnership in 2021 was to optimization our water treatment production, our drinking water, and improvement of our wastewater and sludge management, and also to improve our water quality management. So, as a summary, we achieve a lot. Even it was small, but you know, to do something small, it will be big in a country like Jordan, because we need anything to solve our water problem. Like we optimize our drinking water production, we save about 30,000 euros, and also we have an energy saving for approximately 140,000 euros. And also we established my dream. 2017, I have a dream to establish a lab twinning, and it's real. You are looking to our heroes who has done the achievement. You know, peer-to-peer, a long way for 2 years, missions, online meeting, online workshop, solving problems. Always we've been as one team seeking for one goal. And we are sitting now in the phase 2. So you can look for outcome report in 2024. It's I'm sure that it will inspire other WOPs to see that our WOP is effective. You know, to achieve this was a journey for 2 years, a lot of activities. We are beginning with deciding what we need, struggling between our partner, what we want. But it was a very, 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 very inspiring journey. A lot of missions, a lot of job shadowings, and a lot of online meetings. But you know, it was very magnificent. So the challenge was, you know, how to reduce our operational costs, because we have a water scarcity, and also, you know, Jordan needs only a lot of funds, and you are a lot of work to do. And also we have to optimize our water treatment processes. You know, the water treatment in Jordan, the water quality is different in Jordan. We have a lot of water resources, different in quality, like surface water, groundwater. And also we have a 2 year of dryness. So there's a deterioration in quality. So we need to optimize, because we are paying a lot for the chemicals for water treatment. So we need to optimize these processes with reduction of chemical in the treatment. So in the medium-term results, we have created new dosing points, and we have a saving of about 30,000 euros. Our impact was in 2 SDGs, in 12 and also in 6. This is our jewels. We have won the 17th German Sustainability Award. This is the jewels of our work, and this is you know, an idea that how the web can work, and an evidence that our web is effective. So finally, we are working under the Strong Water Utilities project, which is between the GIZ and the Water Authority of Jordan. And in our web, we have a slogan: the joy in achievement. Thank you very much.
And also, I have to also correct again, because it's Hansenwasser,
Hansenwasser, yeah.
as well as Hamburgwasser. I only said so. Hansenwasser, excuse me again. It's a full partnership. So, is there any questions for this partnership? Yeah, there was a question. Sure. Anna Marika, you so I'm going to hand it over. Can you? How to get it to you?
I have a question to you from Jordan.
Please.
I see you already got the prize. I would like to know from you, what are your future plans? Because you say, okay, we want to go for water saving and for cost saving.
Yeah.
What is the next steps, what you're going to do?
Yeah. You know, we have phase 2 with our partnership. We are focusing, you know, for another problem, yeah, for saving, also for, you know, when the water is depleted and we have a lot of abstraction, you know, the water quality deteriorated. We are focusing now how to deal with this problem. You know, we have a problem of selenium in Jordan, in some wells. So we are trying with our partnership to solve this problem and to provide people with, you know, a new amount of water. You know, water only we have 6 meter cube per capita per year. So it's very demanding. So we, in the next phase, or the phase from 2025 to 2027, we are focusing on some problem in order to solve this, and also with the donors.
microphone for the, yeah, and please.
I was going to ask, you work together with Hamburg, and
Yes.
it's a cooperation. As far as I know, Hamburg, it's quite wet, isn't it? It rains a lot. The issues you're looking at is really into drought. And how far are they technically able to support you in this whole work?
Yeah. Hamburg Vaza have a lot of experts. Many thanks to Christopher Shikela. He have been around a lot in the Arab region. And an evidence for that, in 1998 in Jordan, we have a problem. And Christoph come to Jordan and he had the solution. Yeah.
May I compliment? So if I may compliment also about the situation with Hamburg, Bremen, and Amman, so Jordan. So Hamburg doesn't only have experience with Jordan. This is not something new for us. We have been dealing with international cooperation projects since more than 40 years. So we are also accustomed to the situation that if our partner has problem with water scarcity, that we can also adapt the measures accordingly. Thank you.
So thank you. Big round of applause. Amir, you also rocked it, and the person who was sleeping is now up. So you've done a really good job. You got them up. Good. All right. So now, and I will return somebody's glasses because I can imagine she's looking for them. I'm going to give, just in case you know. Great. So we've had the context by Heiko Heidemann. We followed up by actually having very excellent showcases on exactly what the water operator partnerships are doing. I mean, they're winning sustainability prizes, writing beautiful reports, and there's a lot of learning and exchanges. So now, this is wonderful, but is this sustainable? Where does it go? So that's what our panel, we will talk about it in a couple different areas. So to start that, I'm going to invite the panel members here. So first I will begin with Dieter Rothenberg. Berger. He is the head of the project of the Urban Water Catalyst Initiative, and he's also team leader for SV Blue. It actually sounds like a football. I'm calling it SVs. So please welcome. You'll explain what SV Blue team is. Okay, great. So a little bit of a football reference for those. Okay, and then I would also like to invite Ms. Doreen Mbalo. She is the head of the project Nexus Energy and Water Program, and it's in Zambia, and I love the acronym NUZA. So welcome, Doreen. And then the utility, representing a German utility for us. So yeah, make yourselves comfortable. I think we have 5 chairs. At least there's enough for all of us to sit, and maybe I will take a chair too. I would also like to invite Michaela Carolina Brown. She's the manager for operations and maintenance for Emerson Genossenschaft, I practiced this, Lieferverband. Welcome. I really practiced this one. And then I'd like to also invite Laura Minarek. She is the Senior Policy Officer, divisions for the federal states and the local authorities, the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. We know them as BMZ. Welcome, Laura Minarek. And I think we are just about finished with our panel, but we have one more to invite, and it is Mr. Nyonje Piri. He is the Managing Director for Lukanga Water Supply and Sanitation Company, Zambia. Welcome. So these esteemed panelists and members, I will come and join you next. But easier somehow to talk. A little bit seated, it's a little bit, yeah, it's very kind of, yeah, it's interesting. So I think I'll lean over like this, and let's make it a little bit more of a conversation as well. So beginning, the session we talked about is going to be, thank you, it's going to be about the long-term sustainability of operator partnerships. And there was 3 questions that sort of come to mind as we speak. So for the first question, and kind of the big overarching question, is how do we equip the utilities to take a stronger role in international development cooperation. So this one, we're going to be speaking about utilities in development cooperation. So that'll be the sort of the first set of questions. Then I would like to take the questions to another overarching one. And so when we look at the situation, we sort of say, okay, are the operators' partnerships even ambitious enough to take on some of the roles? Because we're talking about, there's climate crisis, there's geopolitical tensions, there's wars, you know? So how can they do this in a wider stream of development cooperation? And then we will also then look at the final area, which is the theme is, if water operating partnerships are so wonderful, why are they not embedded in national strategies? Why isn't it part of the program? And why are they seemingly appear to be individual standalone projects? Or is this changing? So we're going to discuss those in various ways. And then I will welcome the panelists to speak and discuss that. And then afterwards, we would also love to hear from you. And I remember there was one question here. I don't know if he's left. But if there's, we would also open that question again for you to ask your question. So with that, then let's go to the first one. And the first question I started with was basically utilities in development cooperation. How do we actually equip utilities to take a stronger role in international development cooperation? And I want to start with you, Laura. From the BMZ's policy and financing perspective, how do you see BMZ is actually enabling the utilities to take on this role, and maybe have some reflections on some financing instruments or tools that are being used past and present? So thank you for giving us a bit of reflection on that.
It's working. Thank you for your question. Like Heiko told us, so the utility platform, which the BMZ has been funding since 2019, German operators can take an active role in development cooperation by establishing peer-to-peer exchanges with operators from our partner countries. And in most cases, activities are closely aligned with those of GIZ programs on the ground. This helps to embed operator partnerships into development cooperation and more effectively and sustainably, we think. And in addition, various instruments are being used to increase the visibility of operator partnerships within associations work. And the utility platform, for example, finances a part-time position at the German Water Partnership Office to promote the activities related to operator partnerships. Since last year, the Association of Local Public Utilities, in Germany known as VKU, has been supported by Development Cooperation Scout to promote its international activities. This involves cooperation with the utility platform, highlighting the importance of operator partnerships within municipal utilities. And there's the Specialist Fund for Municipal Partnership Worldwide. It's another BMZ instrument in our division, and currently 2 local experts are working with utility platform partners in Ukraine. The BMZ is planning additional financial instruments and mechanisms by developing operator partnerships as a complementary tool to our projects in the water and waste management sectors. And we are currently planning a 1-year extension of the project until 2028 to provide existing and newly initiated partnerships with time for development and exchange. And we are also working, like Heiko said, with KfW to accompany their investment measures with operator partnerships to strengthen capacities in our partner countries, and we aim to deepen this collaboration wherever possible.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm quite surprised the kind of the realm and of actually things that are being done, whether it's technical, financial, and the new instruments, really to support this evolving role. So help ground us in a little bit of reality, Michaela. What do actually, from your point of view, do you think you would need in terms of this partnership to be able to take this role on beyond some of the things she's mentioned, but into international development to make it actually a complementary tool? Can you share some of your thoughts on that?
Do I have to press?
I think it should be on.
Okay. Thank you so much for this great question. So I want to maybe also share a little bit about our journey. So I work for Emscher Genossenschaft and Lippeverband, short term EGLV. And we are the biggest water association in Germany. We celebrated last year's like 125 years of experience in water management. But when we got engaged in the water operator partnership, it was like first experience and unique experience for us. So yeah, what it needs for utility is that you are really open-minded to learn and also come with like a positive attitude in the partnership. And it's all about my colleagues who are driving like our partnerships, who are really full of energy and making all of this work. Because we were facing also sometimes when you start this work together, some new topics come up or some also challenges where we never had to thought about before. So for example, like some topics were new to us, like international law or working in international contracts, or also about things in different about procurement. But with all of my colleagues, we faced through. And what I also need to say is that we were supported from the beginning from our top management of the utility. This was also like really important to us. And what I'm also really grateful for is like the support we are getting from the utility platform and also from GIZ Zambia, where we can also navigate through challenges and ask questions and also exchange in lessons learned.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Emscher Genossenschaft. Yeah? Is it getting closer? Yeah, it's getting there. Okay. So you've actually got down to say it's about the people for you, and I think it's this repeated theme we're hearing again. It's about the people and the people factor. So for you, the technical support that with 150 years background and experience, it's actually the people that make it work. So supporting the people could send it to increase and support the role in International Development Corporation is kind of what I got from it. Very interesting. I'd love to take that a bit further with you. And I guess she did mention GIZ, Zambia, and that corporation you have. So maybe looking at it from a broader project integration, how does the integration of the partnerships fit in your perspective, Doreen and Mbalo, into the broader Development Corporation project in Zambia? And how do you see that role shaped? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Maybe first I just set the scene for you all in terms of NEWSA, which is an acronym. It stands for the Nexus Energy and Water Program for Zambia. We are an EU and BMZ funded project, and we have a strong focus on supporting utilities and enhancing their technical, organizational, and also financial capacities so that they're able to improve their services in water supply and sanitation. As a project, we also work very closely with the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation. That's our lead partner, so looking at policies, overarching strategies that guide our sector, and we work also very closely with the national regulator, NOASCO, and their mandate is to assess the performance of the utilities in line with the set benchmarks and also key performance indicators. Now, within NEWSA, we work with 7 out of the 11 utilities in the country. And as you saw in the presentation from our colleague from Lukanga, we are funding 3 German-Zambian water operators partnership. And one of the key elements that was very important for us right from the initial stages of designing NEWSA is to ensure that the thematic areas of these water operators partnership directly feed into the overall objective of the NEWSA project. So really looking at the indicators, the activities, because overarchingly we are looking at operational efficiencies. So how are these partnerships then feeding into that, which obviously then is in line with the national targets. We also work very closely with KfW. They have, of course, the investment portfolio. They're looking at the infrastructural related measures. So it's important for us to continue this discussion, continue basically coordinating with the German Development Bank and also other key sector players in the country, such as World Bank and, of course, these water operators partnerships, what we've seen to date is that they really bring on this hands-on, very deep technical expertise that is appreciated by our Zambian colleagues, and within the framework of German Development Corporation. And because of the way we work at a very multi-layered approach, we're able basically to feed that into the overarching policies at the national level.
And I think also what is interesting as you speak and you kind of give us the background, you see all the partnerships behind the partnerships. It is a quite, as you say, quite a layered a layered structure in a way, and how it's also integrated into the work that's happening in Zambia with the utilities and linked to their performance. So thank you for that, and we'll probably come back to some more related questions with that. So, so the second question I had for the panel was around the question of that water utilities and these operator partnerships don't operate in a vacuum. They are under pressure, whether it's from climate. We see the decreasing and challenges of water in Jordan. When I spoke today, I think the need for energy, all the energy that you need just to even pump the water. We are also having geopolitical conflicts. We know wars are going on. So how then does all of the water operator partners deal with this rapid, and I even put on top of it rapid urbanization and so forth? Are these partnerships really ambitious enough to do the job? And I think I want to start with some of the pressures, to understand some of the pressures. Maybe Mr. Nyonje Piri, you can tell us a little bit from your perspective of how are operator partnerships, and in particularly in your case, the utilities, able to respond to a lot of this. And I think in Zambia, for example, was it a year or two ago, cholera outbreaks. You have huge urbanization. So how can the partnerships kind of respond to these really real-world challenges?
Thank you so much. Yeah, in terms of how the utility partnerships can respond to challenges that we're facing, particularly in our case, we're facing issues of resource scarcity. We're also facing issues of climate change. And how the utility partnerships are coming in to help out in these areas is the operational efficiency that we are getting from the partnerships, because we are leveraging on the massive experience. You heard Michaela here talk about the organization being in existence for 125 years. So we are leveraging on the experience that our partners are coming with. We are also leveraging on technology, as well as the financial confidence that we are getting by partnering with organizations from the north, so to speak. So it is working to our advantage. As you saw in the presentation, we have worked on a number of topics. We have dealt with water loss. We are dealing with also renewal of infrastructure in some of our treatment plants. We've had equipment replaced, and that efficiency that is being imparted on our organization is really going a long way in terms of helping us to deal with our challenges that we face.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, Mr. Piri. And I guess in the same vein, Michaela Brown, maybe you can also share a little bit from your perspective as well. How have you seen the partnership being able to address, particularly the issue is, as Mr. Piri has mentioned, climate and climate challenges?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yes, of course, we had some challenges, and I think it's also really important that we learn from these challenges. Nyonga already mentioned that we have like this energy shortages since recent years in Zambia. So this is due to climate change. Zambia is relying on his hydropower plant at Kariba Dam, and the dam did not fill because of missing out like rains. So there were certain energy shortages in the country, and power was like scheduled. And yeah, if you run like a utility, you rely on power. You have like pumps which has to distribute like water or wastewater, or you have like aeration tanks. So it's really necessary, and this also affects like a lot of your work. And so what I'm really excited now also about is that with the NUSA program Doreen was already mentioning, there will be some investments in the partnerships which will bring on like solar panels on certain pumps. And this will help the utility like a lot to be more autonomous and to do something to work on sustainability and resilience. And maybe also at this point I can mention that for us in the partnerships, it's always if you work with like old infrastructure, you can do like a lot of capacity building, but you will come to your limitations. And you can imagine it's like a barrel with like holes, and you fill in like water and water. So it's really necessary that also like in our partnerships, we are combined to some investment in the infrastructure that we can have like the most impact.
Well, actually, I was going to try to clap because actually that is a really, really strong point to say that you can do all the technical, you can do all the capacity building, but unless there is that investment, the water still continues to leak. And so that is really, really good point. Thank you very much. And so Dieter, I come to you, Dieter Rothenberger, because I think from the perspective, actually the question was sort of from the political perspective, but I want to say maybe from the Urban Water Catalyst perspective, and then the SVAL, Blue, which you can tell who the team SVAL, Blue is, because I'm sure it's a great team. But if you can just tell us a little bit about that, and then what do you see this first perspective on the issue on climate and the capacity for these operator partnerships to actually address climate resilience? So.
Yes, so thank you, Belinda. And maybe just a clarification. I'm not the head of the project, Water Catalyst Initiative, because in Germany, ministers sometimes have to retire if they have a doctor which they don't have, which they claim to have. So therefore, I'm not the head of the project. I'm involved in developing the whole initiative. We have a foundation which has been launched just yesterday. Yes. And there's a CEO. So basically, if there's a head like so, then the CEO would be the head of the foundation.
Representing the head.
Exactly. So just that I don't have to retire tomorrow. So.
No, we're not retiring you.
Okay, then concerning your question, I think what we have to be aware is that the water operator partnerships are a great instrument, but they are part of a mix of instruments. So and as you have said, for example. You have worked on certain actions for improving energy efficiency, and now the program of GIZ is coming in and invests into solar panels, so to further the work, if you want. And this is something which is, I think, key to see that it is not the WOPs alone. It is actually the partner structure and the mix of the instruments, be it long-term experts, be it small finance, be it larger finance, which then actually makes really a difference together with the WOPs. And this is, of course, where maybe it's just a small line towards the Urban Water Catalyst Initiative, where the Urban Water Catalyst Initiative comes in. Because the idea of that initiative is really to combine in an effective way technical cooperation that includes the water operator partnership programs and financial cooperation, so basically from KfW or other banks, but starting from small investments, like these solar panels or improvement in pumps and so on, then up to large investments for utilities after a certain time when they can access actually the capital market, local capital market. So the idea is, and I think this is when you talk about water operator partnerships being ambitious, the idea there is really to say we have to shift the whole utility towards being able to access capital markets themselves, make them really financially sustainable. And that brings me to the question of the climate topic. So also here, we shouldn't overburden the WOPs with a proliferation of goals and what they have to report on in these wonderful reports, because then basically this will not be effective anymore. So there are possibilities where WOPs can do a lot of work, in terms of helping to understand why it is important to be, on the one hand, of course, energy efficiency, meaning mitigation measures, but also when it comes to the whole question of climate resilience. What is climate resilient infrastructure? What does it mean? How can I basically support or secure water resources for the future with water resource management, with partners, maybe upstream, for example? How utilities in Germany are doing this and what we can learn from them. This is important. But again, when we talk about, as you said, investment in this resilient infrastructure, then financing needs to come in. So don't overburden the WOPs. They are a great instrument, but they cannot solve the whole problem. This is why we need a partners.
Right. Thank you very much. That's a very, very, very clear point, and well said. So then now, moving on to, and I like also what you said about it starts with an initial investment to hopefully leverage greater investments and access to the capital market, which at the end of the day goes to Michaela's point again about the need to be more than just the technical, so a partnership, more than technical contributions. Now we move to the sort of my third question. And my third question was, if operator partnerships are as effective as we say they are, then why are they not embedded in national strategies, water strategies, and rather they continue to be these external project-like instruments? So I think, Dieter, I'm going to start with you again on this one and asking you to have a bit of a reflection on that question. And do you think, for example, the Global South should actually be demanding for these to be integrated in their national policies? And what do you even think about perhaps even now moving to not north-south, but even a south-south partnerships? So maybe some reflections on that question.
Yes, thank you. Maybe I'll start with the last one, the South-South partnership. And well, obviously, I think this is something where we have to go to as well. And if I understand correctly, in Zambia, you have a South-South one. Yes. Yeah. So I think this is important because we are seeing. I think there was a question about the Hamburg being able to support Amman when it comes to the drought situation. While of course the engineers and they have a lot of experience, they can do a lot. But still, I think it is sometimes different if there's an exchange between a utility from the south. I think it's Uganda, if I'm not mistaken, and Zambia. So because they have maybe undergone the same transformation process, the same process to improve performance from a certain level where maybe Zambia has been is currently, or the utility is currently. While, of course, it might be a bit more difficult to understand that kind of transformation which is needed, the turnaround which is needed from a purely kind of German perspective. Because the turnaround, of course, obviously is a different thing. So basically, South-South is something which is definitely a very important process to go to. It doesn't mean that I don't see it as a competition. I see it actually as a complementary approach for certain things which actually can be easily discussed and maybe more easily discussed between utilities from the south. And then the question on the strategy level. Well, of course, who am I to discuss about if national government should put it in the strategy? What we see and what our perspective in the Catalyst initiative is actually that it is important that these water operator partnerships are embedded at least, and this is not always the case, but at least in the business strategy, in the strategy of the utility and the business plan, so that it's not this kind of, okay, we're going to solve this problem here, we're going to solve that problem there. All this is important. But what is the long-term perspective for the utility to really move forward, and what the WOPs can contribute to that? This is something I think in the work we are doing can to support that, to embed the water operator partnership program in a longer-term development process for the utility, so that it really has a lot of impact in that way as well. And if we manage this, then the next level of the national strategies, I think this would then be a natural level which can be discussed. I'm not a big friend of writing strategies and writing into strategy something we would like to have, just that it's in there.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point. Well said. Thank you, Dieter. And so then maybe moving to you, Mr. Nonje Perry, from your perspective, what are the advantages? I mean, similar questions about first the north, south, 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 and also they also maybe a little bit of a reaction to what Dieter said, that perhaps even in the utilities or the business plan, would you be considering even WOPs at that level? But I mean, this is just sort of a reflection, if you mind. But go ahead. So, kind of your thoughts on the partnerships.
Okay, my thoughts on the partnerships is that, first of all, ourselves, the utilities, need the recipient of international development cooperation. we need to be clear on what our development goals are. We need to have very clear, prioritized growth plans, development plans that we need to put up. I think that is what will determine essentially what kind of partnerships would work better. Because based on our priorities and also what we have planned to achieve, I think that in certain ways, South to South cooperation is effective in certain ways where you need to have a similar context to your partner. But then where it involves transfer of technologies, transfer of skills and things like that, then a North-South partnership would work better. So really it's about the clarity of your plan, and that would determine what kind of cooperation you come up with.
Excellent, really well said, and very logical in that thought, absolutely. So then maybe Doreen again to this, because I actually have a question maybe from your perspective. Why do you think the operator partnerships aren't so yet embedded in the national strategies? Or is it in the case in Zambia?
Good question. So German Development Corporation has been working in the Zambian water sector for several years, and the bilateralization of these water operators partnership consciously began last year when NUSA was commissioned. It was a very clear sort of strategic orientation from the EU. We're a global gateway project, and it was also a clear orientation from BMZ that these water operator partnerships should not be standalone, but as I said, feed into the overarching indicators of the respective projects. At the same time, and very much in the breadth of what Dieter and Nyonge has mentioned, of course, as a project, integration means also looking at the respective performance improvement plans, the strategic plans of the respective utilities, and seeing to what extent these partnership, the activities are directly linked to the performance improvements in line with the set indicators that are assessed by our regulator. Moving forward, for example, NOASCO will be reporting about the performance of the water operators partnership in line with aspects like non-revenue water, commercial physical, staff efficiency, collection efficiency. So topics that are currently being implemented by the water operators partnership within the framework of their thematic areas. And of course, the discussions have been taking place also at the national level with the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation. An MOU is currently being prepared that gives the national ministry a good understanding of the impact and the added value of these water operators partnership. And definitely in Zambia, we embrace more south to south partnerships. There's a lot of exchanges that can take place in the region with other countries like Botswana or South Africa, and we'll continue to do that, of course, in line with Global Gateway and the strategic orientation of Zambia when it comes to the national targets in our sector.
Thank you very much, Dorian. It's clear that it's very much evolving in that direction. So yes, there is definitely progress for sure. So Laura Minorak, just again from a BMZ perspective again, how do water operator partners fit into Germany's development cooperation priorities? Yes.
Fortunately, they fit in. And to name a few key aspects where these partnerships make a significant contribution, they help address the challenges of urbanization and ensure access to safe drinking water and sanitation. And furthermore, the partnership promote economic cooperation between countries in a collaborative manner through these direct expert exchange. And but they not only facilitate the exchange and of expertise, but also focus on the sustainable operation of infrastructure, which is key for long-term development, and this is what we want to achieve. And German companies, I think, also benefit from this engagement, for example, by positioning themselves as attractive employers for competition for young professionals, and additionally through knowledge exchange. They strengthen their innovation capacity and expand their international networks. And the ministry aims to involve the German economy more closely in its development policy work. The initiative was launched at the beginning of this month. Minister Alebali Radovan presented the action plan, Strong Partnerships for a Successful Global Economy, which aims to promote sustainable growth and fair partnerships worldwide. And it focuses on 3 key areas: dialogue and inclusion, removing structural barriers, promotion and support. And I think we find these 3 key areas reflected in the operator partnerships. And so that they are already a part of this stronger focus, and we will work to lay a stronger focus on it. So yeah, I think that's where it fits in our cooperation.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much. And it's very clear there, it's well thought out, and it is increasingly becoming a very important instrument. And I'm saying this, that first, your presence here and BMZ's presence and KfW's presence shows that it is a very important instrument in development cooperation, bilateralism, and many other aspects too in this time and age. So thank you very much for sharing that. So as we close this panel, we will open it up I will give the question to you, but I'm going to give the question to the panel as a sort of a closing question. And my question is, in a few sentences, what must really, really change for operator partnerships to drive real sustainable change and transformation? And I want to start maybe with Michaela Brown. Can you, if from your perspective, for our operator water partnerships to really drive real transformational change, what needs to change, or what should be the factors? Can you share?
Yeah. So I think it's a combination of the points I mentioned today. So it's like you need really motivated people in your utility who have like this positive attitude to work in these cross-cultural situations. But you also need some investment in your water operator partnership to replace like this old infrastructure. And also, you need joy of your work.
Yeah, the joy of the work, to enjoy it, absolutely, absolutely. And I also want to, I think it's going to manage a little bit, I'm sort of taking a little bit of what you said earlier when you were on the stage. And, oftentimes you hear mentee, mentor. And I think you were very quick to correct the partnership aspect, that it is a partnership between two. And so the whole joy of the work, the motivation, only can come through with a partnership. So thank you very much, Michaela. So maybe, Mr. Piri, can you also give, what do you think the water operator partnerships need in order to change, or need in order to be transformational?
Well, I won't really speak about change, but I'll talk about, I think, the unique position that we find ourselves as operators in the water and sanitation space. Unlike other sectors or industries where different participants are competitors, we actually happen to be in a unique situation where our goal is singular: access to water and sanitation for all without leaving anyone behind. So we are not competitors, but we are collaborators in achieving this goal. So I think that what we need to do in order to optimize the results of the WOPs is to, of course, take advantage of each other's experience, and also put in context in terms of the interventions that we go with. Because in this case, we are in a unique situation where there's no need to hide information from each other. There's need actually to share expertise, because our goal is singular: water and sanitation for all without leaving anyone behind.
Beautiful tagline, beautiful. And I think that it's also the only business that always has a demand. There's always customers. So
Absolutely.
For sure, it's definitely a case. And the idea of the sharing and collaboration in it as well is key. Yeah. So then we'll be moving on then to, we can maybe, Doreen, do you want to also share from your perspective, what do you think the operator partnerships need to be to make sustainable transformation?
I think we're all here because of the gaps that we have in our sector. And the most important thing is we believe that these partnerships are supporting and the strengthening of the utilities to be able to improve the services, particularly for the underserved and marginalized. So at the end of the day, it's all about focusing on the challenges that these utilities are facing and ensuring that we can be able to scale up services in the respective jurisdictions that they're working in. So
Very
pushing on
good.
forward.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Well said. So then, Dieter, a reflection as well from you.
Yes, thank you very much. And maybe I'm the only one on the panel who is not active in a WOP. And so when I was working with a German utility 25 years ago, there were no WOPs. A bit too early. But from my perception, a bit from the outside, the first thing is that what I just said, we have to focus, or the WOPs have to focus, and the utilities have to focus on transformation. Really, and not on their own. It's not that that WOPs can do on their own, but really the transformational approach. What is really the objective? And for me, the objective would be then basically what you said: ready for investments, ready for finance. And in order to get there, that this is a long-term process. It's not something you can do, with one either GSZ project or with one WOP in 2 years. That's a longer-term process, but it's the strategic goal we have to work for, and this is where we have to find the partners to get to. So really not see it as an isolated activity between two utilities, but really see it as part of a journey towards the transformation to be ready for finance.
Absolutely, yeah, makes perfect sense. It has to be embedded in something a wider context, development context, as we say, a complementary tool, and supported by the necessary finance, but also able to leverage more finance, because at the end of the day, they're businesses, and they need to also have the funds to be able to invest and make sure they are able to provide the water, which is the end game that Doreen mentioned, and as well as Mr. Piri. So then to close us off from BMZ's perspective again, what do we need? I mean, money, 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 but there's more than that.
Yeah,
Tell me.
it's all about money. But yeah, I can agree. I think the operator partnerships are one part of the whole. And so I think a closer integration of operator partnership with, in our perspectives, the bilateral development cooperation project to further their impact. It's really important for us. And I think that from everybody, it's important for the partnerships as well.
Thank you very much. So big round of applause to the panel. I think we do still have a few more minutes. We can take a few questions, right? We're doing great on time for that? Perfect. So I think they've done a really good job to share some really practical strategies and outlooks on how water operators are evolving, the potential long-term impact in a greater context, whether it's a national context. We've even talked about some regional frameworks. But I would like to then kind of leave or open the question up, or discussions or reflections. Anybody want to share? Yeah? And I have a question for all of you too, and I would be happy. What do you think they need to do, water operator partnerships, to make transformational change? Or just you can have a question, any question you want.
Yeah, I also want to hear the answers also from the audience and the people around me, but also addressing the panelists here. I'm Anna Badhofer. I work for the International Association of Water Services in the Danube region. And this panel so far has been really helpful and insightful, because as a matter of fact, in a European continental perspective, we have been looking into setting up South-South corporations, utility-utility, WOPs basically. And we've been doing this together with GWOPA. But we've come to the point where we have the utilities that say, we found each other, we can mentor each other in maybe in different departments. So where's the money for us? And this is where our association came in and was trying to find the donors, the development banks, the IFIs for this, who basically say, yeah, this sounds great, this is amazing. We do have money, but we don't have the mechanisms, we don't have the schemes, we don't have the tools that allow for us, that WOPs are part of our TA or of our capacity building. And as an Austrian, I hope I can say this, but the Germans seem to be pioneering as per usual. And the BMZ has apparently the mechanisms and the tools available to provide this funding through GIZ. How did you make that possible? Did you have to change your internal, rules of procedure? How did that look like? And maybe also, Doreen, our office is located in the World Bank office in Vienna, and I hope I don't lose my job after the statement, but on the corridors, what I hear from World Bank staff, oh yeah, WOPs, this is this like soft thingy. Oh yeah, all I hear it's about the great trust you build, but what's the outcome? And here I hear there are projects, there are WOPs that support a project. So can you give me some details on the results that are being delivered in that project that come through the WOP component?
Yeah. So who wants to? Yeah, and then I'll get you. Who wants to take sort of those reflections? And I love these Austrians who come up and say the Germans are pioneering. Germans are pioneering, yes, but you Austrians can be so complicated. I'm just joking. Yeah. Do you want to sort of have a reflection? Anybody wants to have a reflection on it? Peter, you want to? So how did it all come to be? And I think I've hoped we've been able to share that it actually, the WOPs are not these soft partnerships, but they're actually doing very tangible things. And I think this was the showcase. But I think maybe you can speak to the whole. Yeah, there's a question. Okay, and Heiko's probably better. Okay, so. Better, but you feel more comfortable, and also you gave us the whole context. So.
No, that's an interesting question. Of course, we had these challenges when we started the program because BSGIZ, we are usually a non-profit organization. But we have the advantage that we have a tax-paying, taxable part of GIZ. And through this tax-paying part of GIZ, we are doing these grant agreements for the WOPs. So in fact, it would not be a big deal to discuss, maybe we should come to your office and discuss it with World Bank together, that World Bank is having a contract with GIZ International Services, and then we can finance the WOPs through this. This would not be any problem. But of course, in the beginning, we had that challenge, definitely.
Maybe if I can add, not on that particular topic, but on that topic of, we found the solution. As I said, I think 25 years ago, I worked with a German utility, and we were thinking about how can we use our knowledge we are Stadtwerke, typically Stadtwerke, privatized in Mannheim. And we said, we want to use our knowledge also in the water sector, in development cooperation. And that was 25 years ago. And when I came back, I worked then in Switzerland, I worked then abroad for 14 years, and I came back to Germany. And then the WOPs program was started. So it was nothing which kind of developed like that. It really it takes some time, also in the thinking within our systems. And then there was just a bit of credit to our neighbors. Actually, I think the Dutch were the first ones to come up with that idea and to really work with the utility approach. But it is not easy because it really changes the way of thinking, how you deliver your work and how do you do that kind of peer-to-peer exchange. Maybe just the last word concerning the World Bank. There are actually, our initiative, which is including WOP, but then linking it with finance, that was built on World Bank opinions, that this is actually, these soft things are needed. And if you talk to, in particular, those staff, who have been in the water sector for 25 years at the World Bank, they say, actually one staff said when we launched the initiative 2 years ago at the UN, this is what the World Bank always has missed. So therefore, don't go into this, this is the soft thing, while the other is the real thing. Actually, we have to work to bring the things together, because without a soft element, the hard element is very, very difficult to find traction.
My name is Chola from Zambia. I work for the regulator in Zambia. I don't really have a question. I just wanted to contribute. And I like the fact that, WOPs are being looked at as part of this bigger picture in development cooperation. But I think that they should also be embedded in national governance systems. For example, in the regulatory space, we are already providing a platform for these WOPs to actually thrive. Because as regulators, we do benchmarking. I think Doreen mentioned that. So we assess the performance of different utilities, and we've gone regional, and we're moving. We're even going to cover south to south and things like that. So when we benchmark these utilities and we show how they are performing, it is, I think, for me, a very good entry point for the WOPs, because then you see, especially the south to south arrangement, you are able to see that one utility is doing better in this area. So then you can interrogate and begin to create these partnerships, and then, it becomes part of a bigger picture. So I feel regulators can play a role in making these WOPs more sustainable, because at the end of the day, when we do have such arrangements, definitely we are going to acknowledge them and say, because of this, this utility has improved in this area or that area.
Talk about the indicators for the utilities. These are the key indicators, can also be compared. You can also see the difference. So actually it can be as a means and a way to report on them as well. So it's very key. Yes, thank you.
Okay, it's really exciting to see this kind of transformative partnerships. Mine is just to reflect on the other angle, because a lot of focus has been around the technical efficiencies, operational efficiencies, but still linked to the technical side. But I've been wondering, how can we leverage these partnerships, particularly in Africa, where in the spaces the utilities work in, tariff regulation is not just an independent function, but it's a highly politicized process, and that is affecting utilities' financial health. So how can we leverage this kind of collaborative partnerships as a voice in terms of advocating and lobbying for at least a tariff mechanism where you can even have a regulator that is safeguarding that space and it's not just left to the political elites? So I'm just wondering if maybe Zambia can be a shining example in the coming years that other African countries can also learn from, to try and lobby this kind of partnerships to add a voice to what the sector is trying to advocate for.
Thank you. Zambia, shining example. Mr. Piri, can you be the shining example?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, so in terms of peer-to-peer learning, we actually, I was thinking Doreen would mention, GIZ is helping the utilities come together in what we're calling the ZWOP, the Zambia Water Utility Platform. So this is a grouping of all the utilities in Zambia. And this is some form of south-to-south partnering. And we're looking at different issues in this ZWOP. We are looking at things like, for instance, a common ERP. We are looking at leveraging other utilities gains. For instance, we have utilities that have gone full cashless. Others are still on cash basis. So we're learning from each other and trying to push each other in to get a common good. It speaks to what I mentioned earlier, where we are not in competition, but we're actually collaborators towards one goal. So that gives us a stronger voice in terms of how we engage stakeholders, how we engage our regulator, and subsequently how we engage government. So we are hoping that through this kind of collaboration, we can have a stronger voice and have a bigger influence on how issues of tariff setting and other things go moving forward.
Thank you very much. Well said. A shining example indeed. And so maybe there was, as we close off this session, I think there was really an important point on the WOPs and the results for the WOPs. And there was a report circulating around here. We can't find that report. It was so good. I think it's disappeared. But anyway, perhaps maybe you can speak a bit to that for me.
Yes, exactly. Because the question came up, and that's always the question, what are the results of WOPs? And that is why we had these reports written, and you can find them on our website, utility-platform.com. Right at the top, it says, what do utility partnerships achieve? And if you click on that, you get to our landing page, downloading 7 outcome reports from different countries. Yeah, I circulated one, and I'm still looking for it because it's the display copy. Probably someone has it and can put it up there, or, yeah, give it back to me. That would be great. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. I think we close our panel session and this session today with a big round of applause. Mr. Piri, Ms. Brown, Mr. Rothenberger, Ms. Mbalo, and Ms. Elora as well. And thank you very much for your presentations. I think what we've learned today is there is a huge opportunity with the WOPs. And sometimes the soft stuff is the stuff that creates the hard thing. But more importantly, it's the people to people at the end. That's what makes it work. And I think it's that stays with me for this session. So thank you all for being participating in this session, and continue the conversation and keep the water flowing. Thank you.